Producer Spotlight with Mr. Instro.
You can be a beat maker and not be a music producer. But when you're a music producer, you don't have to be a beat maker.
Only on the element.
You know what that sound means? It's just gone 1:15. Mr. Instro is here.
I am here. What up, champ? You know why I'm calling you champ, right?
The champ is here.
You didn't think I'd find out, did you?
I don't know what you're talking about, though.
You don't know what I'm talking about?
Tell me what
champ.
you're talking about.
Sure. Yo, congrats to the element, yo,
Thank
for being number one on the massive Metro ratings. Yeah,
wait. I got something for you. You just said what? You just said that the element is what? Number one. Oh, the people in the studio didn't hear it. People in the studio didn't hear it. I'm gonna do it again. Hold on.
Yeah. That's what I'm talking about. Congratulations.
Thank you so much, Mr. Instro.
Your hard work is paying off, man.
Thank you.
Beautiful. It's so beautiful.
It would be remiss of me to not say a big shout out to AB Art Mahlatsa Letwaba, Mr. 95.
Absolutely.
Always pushing the buttons. And also to Justice, because the dope videos that you see don't come from me. So thank you. Actually, my whole team is here. I'm so excited.
Yeah.
Thank you guys so much. I love you. But back to you. The spotlight is all about you.
Yes.
Producer Spotlight this week. Who we looking at?
We are looking at Black Milk, Detroit born. Amazing a producer.
Yeah.
He's also an artist, which is particularly why I chose him this week, because I want us to unpack how, one can branch out and do other things, and how one can learn, your foundation being producer,
right,
and then growing into something else. And what Black Milk has done incredibly well is he grew from being a guy that just makes beats to a very well respected touring artist. And that's one thing that it's a lane that a lot of producers haven't really grasped yet, and he seems to have really gotten a genuine following all over the world. And he deserves all the respect, man. And this is really what you would want to do as a producer if you have a knack for stage performance, and it's one of the things that you like to do.
But it makes me wonder, when you're saying that there are producers who haven't really quite gotten a grasp on it, is it not possibly because there was a point in time where people did not want that to be the case? People did not want the producer to branch out and be the artist and be the performer. Because it makes me remember, even when you're watching I think it was the Biggie movie, when Suge Knight took a shot at Diddy and was like, come over to our side so that you don't have no producer dancing in the front of you and
Right.
So I think for a long time, and it's something that I've even seen here at home, where we are not particularly, or we weren't particularly open to the idea of producers doing more than that. We just generally like the idea of, a producer, somebody who's in the background, and they should fall back. Do you think that's possibly why producers haven't quite gotten their hands on getting that right?
Yeah, there's a couple of reasons why, and I think the most reason that's obvious to me is the fact that most of us are introverts. We like to sit in our little studio, a little corner, and just produce music. It seems to me like it's more of a personality situation, which is one of the narratives that I am trying with all my power to change, because it's so important to be a producer with personality, because people feed off of you. I always, every single week, I make an example of being a movie director. You cannot be a movie director if you don't have the personality to at least control what is happening on the scene that you're shooting. You understand? So when you're producing, you're in studio and you're making a song, it's important for you to have control of what's happening.
Right.
So back to Black Milk, right? One of his most powerful attributes is that he's got personality. He's worked with people like Jay Dilla, people like Pharoah Monch, legendary people that he grew up listening to.
Right.
And you have to have a certain strong personality to be able to be in a room with those people and still hold your own.
Right.
You know, and I think that also adds on to him being a very successful performer, you know, because you need confidence to be able to not just be a guy that comes on, raps your songs and
dips.
You understand? He became very well known for festivals. You understand? When you perform at festivals, you are now not just a rapper.
Yes.
You know, you have to entertain half the time people that haven't even heard of you.
True, and they're drunk.
And they're drunk, you know. So you have to make your show as interesting as possible. And he's one of the few people that I personally saw that would do shows with the MPC. So he'd have his MPC on stage, and he would do a small Anyana showcase. And I think it's also important to note that he went straight to band. He didn't really do the whole MC and DJ thing. He went straight to band. I love the fact that he was clear about his vision, and that's what you need to do as a producer. You need to be clear about where you see yourself. Google Black Milk now. The very first picture that you see of him is him behind a mic on stage.
Right.
And that's been his vision from the word go, and that's what we need to do. We need to grow like that. We need to take production as a solid foundation and a stepping stone to reach the goals that and our dreams, you know. We need to take it there as much as possible.
All right, so when we come back, I'm going to ask you about the pros and the cons, and then as I like to do, I want to bring it home as well, because as we unpack this topic, for whatever reason, PH Raw X pops up into my mind immediately. So I want to talk about that. It's just gone 21 minutes after 1 o'clock. Gonna play you some Black Milk, and then I'm gonna come back and chop it up with Mr. Instro. Only on The Element. 5 minutes to go before we hit 1:30. It's still the producer's spotlight with myself and Mr. Instro. You're plugged into The Element, your favorite hip-hop playground right here on Massive Metro. So we're talking Black Milk, we're talking producers moving into being artists, and the pros and the cons. You're a very big advocate of diversification.
Yes, I am.
Why?
Because life is short and you need to leave empty. You understand? A lot of us tend to think that, in fact, I think it's just social conditioning, that if you have certain personality traits that you need to do a certain thing, you know.
Right.
Oh, he loves animals, you should be a vet. You know, that kind of thing. It's like not necessarily, you know. And as you grow, you grow with your interests. Just like me, if you would have asked me at 18 if I would want to be on radio, I would have been like,
hell nah.
Not really. I want to make music for radio, but not on radio. But this just happens to be one of the things that I enjoy probably easily the most, you know, in everything else that I do. So I think it's important to not do one thing, and more so when you're a music producer, it's imperative to do more than one thing, because it gives you so many platforms, you know. And for people like Black Milk, the stage was already set. You know, he had an opportunity to produce an album for Elza, Slum Village member, and you can tell he drops verses here and there, and that's what you want to do. You want to stretch yourself and see how far you can go. And I mean, look where he is now, you know.
What if somebody argues that if you stretch yourself, you can stretch yourself too thin and in too many areas? You know, because there are definitely pros and cons to everything. So you've given us some of the pros, but what could some of the cons be? Because when I think about it, I'm like, okay, now you've moved from not just being a producer, now you're also the performer. How do you decide which hat to wear, and can you fully be one thing at a particular time? So when it's time to be a producer, can you fully just be a producer, or are you also thinking as an artist, and is that a good thing?
Hey, you know, it's actually very tricky, because I think it depends on your gift. I think it also depends on your personality. I'll give you a very good example. I've got a lot like a tremendous amount of respect for a producer like Tweezy. You know, he is easily one of the best producers we have here in SA, you know, but as an artist, he never really came out strong, you know, and for some reason, for someone who's that good, I mean, I've been in a couple of studio sessions with him, and like, he's good. He understands the music making process more than there's very few people that I know that understand that process more than he does.
Right.
But like, when it comes to his own songs, it's like, okay, yeah, they're cool, you know, it's not like they're whack or anything. You can tell that he's still experienced in making the music, but it just there's something missing there.
Do you feel like he holds back a little bit?
It might be a case of holding back, and maybe it's not something he should be doing. You know, I can't exactly say. Maybe I'd have to be in a recording session with him to actually come up with a proper synopsis.
Right.
But one thing that I do know is that, you know, it doesn't make sense to me. So the cons is you just might not be that great at it. You know, you might want to branch out and be an actor, and then it just turns out that like your face is like mine.
What does that mean?
That means you can't lie. That means if you're sad and you're happy, like they're just gonna see right through you.
Right.
You know what I mean? So there's a case of that, and there's also, you know, like you mentioned earlier, PH.
Yes.
I think PH is one of the guys that are like, yo, I wish I had like $1 million. You know, he's the kind of dude that just needs the exposure, because I think he's far ahead of his time. When he does something now, I always know people are gonna catch on to it like much later, and it's only like resources, you know, and we're talking hard money now, where we know we can plug certain things to make this reality more real, you know, because he's always been futuristic from his sound to you know, to the way he raps, you know, it's always been unique. And he's one dude that I believe that, you know, with enough push, he could be superstar level, like very easily. You know, he just needs that machine that's going to push him to the next level, just like Black Milk. You know, he needs to get to the level where, you know, people will start treating him like a touring artist.
Ooh.
You know, that's what I believe for him, you know, because he's already proved himself as a producer. For me, he's done more than enough. Now as an artist, I think, there needs to be a bit more like relentless and vigorous push behind his artistic and his personal push, you know, so to speak.
Alrighty, that's our producer spotlight for this week. It's just gone 1 minute after 1:30. Please do forgive us, but Khalil is going to give you a quick news update. Mr. Instro, when are we doing this for an hour?
Soon.
Okay, you heard it here first. It's the Element on Massive Metro.
The Producer Spotlight with Mr. Instro.
You can be a beat maker and not be a music producer. But when you're a music producer, you don't have to be a beat maker.
Only on the Element.